Hello everyone, this is Derek Brimley. I'm making this video on jQuery UI. So jQuery UI is made by the same people who made jQuery. If you just go over this one tab from jQuery, it's jQuery UI. jQuery UI basically extends the functionality of jQuery with different interactions, widgets, and themes that you can add to your website. So I'm just gonna dive into what you can do with jQuery and how to add it to your jQuery UI and how to add it to your website. So here's their website. It's super useful, super helpful. Lots of documentation, just like jQuery, and lots of demos, which I find really helpful. So to download jQuery, you just go to this download page, and there's lots and lots of different components that come with jQuery UI, and you can pick and choose from what you want or what you need. But usually I just pick them all. And then there's also a theme that is associated with jQuery UI. There's lots to pick from, and if you want to see what they look like, then you just can go here. So here's the default theme, just blue and gray. Here's the gallery of different ones. You can get orange, black. There's tons, and if you really want, you can roll your own. Change the fonts, change the colors of the headers and everything. So you can really do a lot of different things. Do a lot of different things with it. So hold on. Okay. So sorry, I had to adjust the window. So once you download it, you will come to it will download this zip file. You can unzip that file, and you will see all these files. The main files here are this jQuery UI CSS and JS, and their minified versions. Then there's this images folder with all the different icons that are associated with jQuery UI, and then this external jQuery. To use jQuery UI, you have to be using jQuery, so it just comes with that. So to put them in your website, you simply I made this folder. It's just a HTML5 template. So in the JS folder, you can put jQuery.js and the minified jQuery UI JS, and then in the CSS, just put the jQuery UI minified CSS, and then this images folder, just put that folder right in there. And then in your code, you link the CSS, the minified jQuery UI CSS, up here, and then I'll scroll down to the jQuery.js file, and then the jQuery UI.min.js file, and then you're ready to go to start using it. So I've set up this website, or just this HTML document, showing a few of the cool components that jQuery UI can do. So first of all, there's this draggable div. I'm not sure exactly how useful this is, but I think it's kind of cool. You can just set this div up to be draggable. I'm sure there's cool uses for it, but I've never actually used this in development. But and it's super simple. Just like jQuery, here's this sortable div. There's this container that's just this box, and then the actual div, which is just this. No, sorry, that's wrong. But there's this container, and then there's this draggable div with the ID of draggable, and then a class that's a jQuery UI class, and then of course just this p tag, drag me around. But this draggable ID, we've set up this function at the bottom that will load at the when the page is loaded. So in a jQuery tag, you find the draggable ID, and then just write .draggable, and then whatever options in here that you want. If you don't want any, if you just want it to be a draggable div, you can just do that. So let's try that. I'll refresh it, and the only difference is it can go anywhere. So what the option that I had selected before was doing was containing the div inside of its parent ID, or its parent div. So let's save that, and I'll refresh it, and so now it's contained. There's lots of different options you can choose. You can make it so it can only go vertical or only go horizontal, or whatever you want. So that's that draggable div. Again, just a simple example. Here's another pretty simple example of a sortable div. This is just a list that you can sort into different orders. This is just the default, but it's super simple to make this work. You can see it here. It's just an unordered list with a bunch of list items, some jQuery UI classes, which are not technically necessary to make it work, but that make it look like they wanted to, and then just the item number. Come down here to the JavaScript, and it's as simple as right here, sortable ID, finds the ID, and attaches that functionality to it. This, I think, just makes it so you can't select the text within the div, but yeah, that's all it is to that. Super simple. Lots of options that you can find on their website, if you're so inclined. So moving on to the next one, accordion. This is a pretty useful feature if you ever want to hide sections of text or show sections of text. Makes it really easy. All the HTML is just divs and p tags. So section 1, section 2, section 3. If you set it up like this, all within this div. The div's ID is accordion, so we go down here, and that's just one line of code that makes that all work. Let's say we wanted to make this a little bit better. Say we want to be able to close this. So I'm trying to click on this and it's not working. So let's go to their website. Go to accordion. So collapse content. So now if we want to be able to collapse even that div, then let's view the source. They have really good documentation, like I was saying. So looks like if we just add this option, collapsible is true, then that should work. Let's check it out. And now we can collapse that. So lots of other options you can find on your own. Autocomplete is a really cool feature that makes doing, say if you're doing a search functionality in your site, or maybe in a form if you want to kind of do some pre-validation on your form. So if you just start typing, it gives you a bunch of options that you can find, or just gives you one option. But yeah, this could be really useful, obviously, and it's really simple to kind of implement. So all that it is in the HTML is this is the container class, and this is just a div with a label and an input. So this input with the ID tags, let's go down here. Here it is, autocomplete. So you find that element, say .autocomplete, and then you find the source of what it's going to be searching for, and available tags. It's right here. All you have to do is define an array of possible things that you want it to autocomplete. We could add one. Let's add Derek, and there I am. So that's that's how you would do an autocomplete. Toolbar. So there's lots of different button options in jQuery UI. Obviously, there's just a button that clicks, turns blue when you click on it. But then there's also a toggle option, and then there's this, which sort of allows you to choose one of the three, but not anymore. So if we just look at the HTML, all it is just this div with a bunch of buttons inside of it, and each of them has an ID and some different things up here. But the JavaScript down here makes it really easy. So here's all of these are the buttons, and then you just say dot button and then give it your options. So no, there's no text on it, but there is an icon, and here's the icon, which is included in jQuery UI. You can do functions or implement .click methods onto those buttons. But yeah, it just makes it really easy to make a bunch of buttons, and it's really easy to read and implement. So moving on to this date picker. This date picker is something I use a lot with jQuery UI because I think HTML does have a date picker type element, but it's really ugly and not super user friendly, and doesn't you can't really make it your own or make it more functional. So here's jQuery UI's date picker. It's really easy to make this. Here's the HTML date picker, just a div, and really the whole date picker is just this input right here. So with the ID date picker, this animations thing, I use just because there's different animations that can display the calendar. So here's just the default. If you want to drop it, it comes in a little differently. You can slide in a little faster, but the only thing that's really part of the calendar is this input, and then you go down here and you just find the div or the input, the element, and then you just say .date picker, and that's all it is. And then here's the animation for that date picker. Yeah, so that's really simple and really useful for making for choosing dates, obviously on forms or for anywhere else. There's lots of different options with this as well to do date formatting, which if you've done web development is always kind of a problem, getting the user to create the date in the right format. So that can do all that for you, so it's in the right format you need. A dialog, another super flexible element of jQuery UI. So here it is. You can see it opened with an animation. You can move it around, and it's not closing when I click out, but it'll do a weird animation to close out. So all that is behind the scenes is this div. It's just a div with a p tag in it, and then you come down here and say .dialog, and then here's some options. There's tons of options with dialogues, but I just made it so it doesn't auto open on the page load. So let's see what happens if I take that off. So I'll refresh the page, and it comes up automatically. So I didn't want that. So auto open equals false, and yeah, lots of different options. Looks like I'm running out of time. So the other thing is a tooltip, which you can do really cool tooltip stuff. But yeah, so that's the basics of jQuery UI. There's lots of other things that we missed out on, but